Okay, I think I am live. Hi guys. Hi Sharon. Hi Janelle. Go ahead and let me know when you guys can hear me in the chat. I'm just going to go ahead and hop over to software and dive right in. I'm going to light some lavender, some rosemary over here, and some moxie because the energy is fucking weird. The energy is fucking weird, guys, and we're gonna get right into it. So I'm gonna go ahead and dive into the slides, and then we'll hop into the chart, and then I pulled some cards at the end, which of course are so aligned. Janelle saying that she got Sharon's package in the mail today. She just ordered a flower essence from her. Sharon, remind me to link it below your webpage. Remind me to do that. She has several different flower essences, including a Starseed remembrance essence to be used very sparingly in very intentional doses. But yeah, I'll link that below. And yeah, I'm burning all three of those. Oh, and I have my selenite because the energy is so weird. We are entering into to quote Heather of Astrology with Heather, I think she said the most intense period of the year, the most intense 2 weeks of the year. I also recommend joining her newsletter. I'll try to get a link from her to link that below, but she sent out her, I don't know if it's monthly or weekly newsletter about the upcoming astrology, and the title was "We're entering into the craziest or the most intense," I'm saying craziest because this shit is far out, the craziest period of the year, but I think she said most intense 2 weeks of the year. And we're going to get into why here, but it's something that we've been talking about for quite some time. But before we do that, let's go ahead and dive into these slides. Oh, Patreon, I totally forgot to upload the, where am I at? I totally forgot to upload the calendar for you guys on Patreon, but I'll do that after this. You guys can take a screenshot when we get over there, and then I'll upload the PDF for you. But this is our thumbnail for this video. You can go ahead and take a screenshot if you're a screenshotty type person. I have like thousands of screenshots in my phone, so I'm definitely a screenshotty type person. But my face is back. So, you guys know I like to try to encode as much like information into this little piece so that if I ramble for a couple hours, you don't have to try to remember it all, and you can kind of look at this and be like, oh yeah, that's what Allie was talking about. And July is intense for a multitude of reasons. The more esoteric underlying energy is our yearly Sirius alignment with the sun that we have each year at the beginning of July. We also will have a Mercury alignment with Sirius this month, and then we have our Cancer new moon, which aligns with Sirius this year, only a few degrees away. So that's the more like underlying esoteric energy. And then we have this very intense T-square between the Saturn-Uranus square that we've been experiencing all year. And if you've been following me, you know I have talked about this 45-year cycle between Saturn and Uranus that's going to be culminating in 2032. I call it the New World Order transit. And this last little stretch is all about the globalization of the world. And we have this Saturn-Uranus square that's been going on all year with 3 different exact dates. We had one last month. We're going to have another, our third and final one in December. And now we have Mars joining the party, creating a fixed T-square with Saturn retrograde opposite Mars square Uranus. And this is where we're really feeling the tension that's been building all year. Now we're more in play because Mars is here and the energy is very, very volatile. This month is all about initiations. We're going to get into this as we get more into the chart. If you're one of my Patreon members, you know that our last full moon in Capricorn, I talked a lot about how Capricorn governs initiations, as does Saturn. Here in this 3D realm, in order to get us to a level of consciousness to be able to move on to something else, to be able to see from a perspective at the top of those stairs down on the matrix and be like, okay, I see a lot of this. I'm seeing a lot of illusions. I'm above that fog of Maya. And Sirius really helps us to see. And every year around this time, we have a Capricorn full moon. So we have a culmination. Full moons are culminations. We have a culmination of our yearly initiation where we either get to take a step up that personal mountain of soul evolution that we have been climbing, or something happens and we fall back down. Something interferes and we fall back down. These are personal mountains. These are personal initiations that we are trekking upon. And sometimes the lesson is not learned in order to take that next step, and so it is repeated. Every year we have this Capricorn culmination of initiation at the top of our mountain, at the top of the zodiac. And then right after that culmination, we have a new initiation. So in the Cancer season, when we have our Sun transit Sirius, that is when this new cycle begins. I talk about Sirius being the star of initiation. It's the closest star other than our sun. It's only 8.2 light years from Earth. It is the brightest star in our night sky, and it is our first cosmic consciousness that we can tap into, celestial consciousness that we can tap into, that sits beyond the fixed stars of the zodiac. And even though some of those are much farther, but they're part of this realm, this sphere, that sits beyond the fixed stars of the zodiac, which is us and all the archetypes we need to integrate. It sits beyond our solar system and onto something else. This is our initiation out of this Earth school and into something else. And I really do believe that Sirius leads that. I actually have tons of people come to me all the time for Starseed readings, and they're always convinced that they have Sirius alignments in their chart. I was the same way. The only reason I even do this kind of astrology is because I was looking for my Sirius placements, because Sirius was so loud for me in the beginning. And I don't actually have any alignments with Sirius, although my uncle, who is my main ancestry guide, I guess, I think also I may have been him in a past life, but that's a whole nother story, has a Sirius stellium. So I know that some of that energy was coming from him, but a lot of people have Sirius reach out to them first because it is that closest point. Whether you have alignments or not, all of these stars fall within you. We all have Sirius within us, waiting to initiate us into this next level of cosmic consciousness that sits beyond our own physical sun and onto something else, on expanding to something greater. So we have this Sirius initiation. I'm just going to read the little green thing at the bottom, my little synopsis. It's set because of course it rhymes, because that's just apparently a thing I do. I meant to do this also. I found the missing one. Well, my kid did. I only had one. I still like using the crystal, but I thought I would use both of them this time. Okay. Okay, so it says the initiation, the unknown, the unseen, the subconscious, the machine, the smoke screen, and that which sits between. That's kind of where we're at right now. We're in Cancer season. We'll get deeper into this as we get into the chart, but we're in the deep waters of the subconscious, of the mirror realm. Nothing makes sense right now, yet the entire spiritual realm is all around us. So we're in this weird sort of energy that we're going to try to explain as we get into this. But the picture here is this steps of initiation, these steps of being able to see more, to be able to have illusions fall away and see things and truly understand from a grounded perspective, from a very grounded and centered perspective. And we're going to get into this split that we're seeing going on, these two polarizing forces, and how we can find some sort of semblance in between as we get into the chart. But the next step is being illuminated for us. Now, this may be a step that you missed last time. Like you were redoing something, the Capricorn moon didn't go as planned, and you were led astray, and you fell a little bit down the mountain because you got off course. And now you're like, okay, I'm going to integrate the lessons that my mishaps showed me, and I'm going to try for this step again. And you're going to be able to see more clearly what you need in order to take this step. Or you really did integrate a lot of stuff over the past couple of weeks, and then this next cycle is opening for you. So the next step is illuminated as we enter this Sirius energy that we're going to talk about here as we get going. So here is the calendar. Feel free to take a screenshot. I am going to move my face for a second. Where's my face? Okay. So if you are watching this on YouTube, this is a Patreon video that I do for my patrons every month, and then I release on YouTube halfway through the month for you guys. It is included with the $5 tier and above. And if this is something that you've been enjoying, something you want to get at the beginning of each month, I highly recommend joining my Patreon. It will be linked below. Also, if you could take a moment to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell to be notified when new videos come out, I would really appreciate it, as will the robots who govern this algorithm. If you would like to have my content, see more ears and more faces, it would really help me out. So like and all of that jazz. Okay, enough of that. I'm not really going to go over this too much here. I realized down in the bottom square it says C slide for color key. Well, I forgot to make the color key. So really quick, I'm just going to tell you what the colors are. The light blue ones are our moons, our Cancer new moon, and our Aquarius full moon. The pink ones are our live streams here for Patreon members. So we have our forecast today on the 1st, our new moon live stream on the 8th, our Cosmic Circle Zoom meeting where we meet and chat with each other on the 15th, and then on the 22nd, our full moon live stream. The yellow ones are like, yo, this is kind of a big deal. Pay attention to me. And the ones that have no highlight are like, hey, something's happening in the sky, but like, I'm not as important as the yellow one, so if you're not paying too much attention, it's okay. And the green ones are major starseed activations. So we have Sirius conjunct the sun on the 5th, Mercury conjunct Sirius on the 20th, Mercury opposes the galactic center on the 9th, Venus conjunct Draco on the 28th. So those are the like major starseed energies of the month. And then down below are the ones that are happening all month. Mercury in Orion, Chiron in Gemini, Chiron in Andromeda, Jupiter with Fomalhaut, which is one of those 4 Watcher stars, Saturn with Cygnus, and Uranus with Andromeda. And then I just added kind of what this is all building up to. So this month is going to be a lot of traveling the mirror realm and trying to come out with clarity and sanity. And if you do this next month, when the sun conjuncts Alexandria, is when you're really going to be bestowed or unlocked or remember this ancient knowledge and wisdom that we're uncovering. But the dream that I'm calling it that we're living right now, that is very symbolic and not to be taken at all literal, is like I said, if you guys remember last month, do you remember the cards that I pulled last month during this forecast where it said strength, stars, and illusions, 7 of cups? And I said that there was going to be a whole bunch of distractions, a whole bunch of illusions, a whole bunch of symbolic energy, very Alice in Wonderland, I said, with all the mixing signs pointing in all different ways, and things that make sense. Like there's something here, but it's more of a symbolic, dream-like Wonderland vibes, where we're kind of traveling the mirror realm and trying to make sense of things that don't make sense, while illusions are shattering all around us. And I said that we're going to have all these things come at us, distractions, different trajectories, different like all the different cups. You know, you have all the different options. You can either like and one of those is true, right? But you're trying to navigate all these other ones, and I said they were all spitting a really good game. I remember saying that. And then we had the other 2 cups. We had the strength. I said we were going to need a lot of strength. It was the lion and the woman with the infinity symbol on top, that balanced duality. I said we were going to need to integrate, be aware of the shadows we were projecting with all the light influx that we were going to be having, and that we were going to need strength and personal sovereignty in order to navigate those 7 cups and reach that star initiation of Sirius this month. I wonder if you guys remember that, but that was last month's thing. Well, now we're really in this shadowy realm. We've hopefully obtained some of that strength and sovereignty. We know what's around the corner, this star. We're in the midst of this 7 of cups, and we know that we need to navigate this in a different sort of way. And that's why a lot of planets are retrograde right now, because they're helping us do things differently and hopefully break some karmic cycles. But there's a lot of traps, there's a lot of misdirection, there's a lot of things that shouldn't be taken literal and are very more subjective and esoteric and hidden and ethereal and not very tangible. And I think that it's going to be a lot about going deeply into the self, traveling the waters of the subconscious mind and your own personal mirror realm during this month, in order to really step into that sovereignty when Leo season starts next month and the dream finally ends and we wake up. Think of this month as Alice in Wonderland. That is where we're at. And everyone is at a Mad Hatter party, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And if you're thinking, what the fuck is going on? You're in the right place, and you didn't pull to one of these extremes that we're about to get into here now. So let's go ahead and dive into the chart. Janelle says she's remembered the cards. She says yes. Sharon says OMG. I think everybody is agreeing that this is the energy, and it rhymes. Ali. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of notes and a whole bunch of stuff that I don't have notes on, and we're just going to go with it because I think I kind of have an idea of the energetics. I spent a lot of time with it today, and I want to go through the days so we really have some sort of like guiding force as we get deeper into this mirror realm, and even I can go back to the videos because sometimes I'm just like, damn, I wish I took my own advice. Sometimes I will rewatch this video and be like, that was some wise ass shit you said there, Allie. Too bad you did the exact fucking opposite. Good job, though. That's another reason why I'm really writing a lot of notes. And I have been referencing these videos because I noticed that when I kind of just talk, shit comes out that fucking I need to hear. And so I need to start listening to myself. But we learned maybe that's my serious initiation, to listen to my damn self. Okay. I will say that I have been drinking at least 1 bottle of water a day. One day I even drink 2, and I'm very proud of myself. Okay. We're in the chart. I'm gonna go over to the software, so I'm not gonna be able to see you guys, but I think we're all good. And like I said, I'm sorry. I'm super sorry about the calendar. I know you guys like to write notes on it. I hope this doesn't screw you up too much, but maybe you can just rewatch the video. I don't know. I'm sorry. I could go put it up right now. If this wasn't on YouTube, I would do that. But I don't want all the people on YouTube waiting for me. Okay, guys. So the month starts off with this bang that I was already talking about. It starts off with Mars. So the energy that we're kind of feeling all becomes exact the first couple of days of the month. So on the 1st, we have Mars come, so that's today, Mars came into its opposition with Saturn retrograde, which also squares Uranus. Okay, the Uranus square will be exact on the 3rd, but it's like, come on, it's there. Okay, it's 1 degree away. We're already here. Mars came into an opposition with Saturn retrograde. Saturn is currently retrograde in Aquarius, the sign of the collective, the sign of friends, the sign of the community, the sign of others, of group settings, of things like that, that are usually designed to push humanity forward, or revolve around technology in some fashion. Saturn is very, very, very ingrained in the technological world while in Aquarius. And he is retrograde right now. So Saturn, the planet of boundaries, of structure, of restriction, is resetting his boundaries in these settings, in this group setting, in this community, when it comes to our trajectory for the future as well. Saturn is retrograde, and he is redoing some things that have started over this past period here as he transited this period of the sky. And he's being forced to take apart some structures that he had spent some time on in order to restructure them so he is safe. Saturn is all about safety. And so that we are in karmic alignment with our own purpose. Saturn governs Capricorn, the sign of our purpose. Who governs the 10th house, which governs our purpose and our career and our public standing here at the top of the zodiac. If you're in my Patreon, you know we talked so much about the esoteric hidden meanings of Saturn and Capricorn, and how it really governs our initiation as a soul and our path out of here through the gate of the gods, which is right now at 27 degrees of Sagittarius, but in 200 years we'll finally make it to this 0 degrees Capricorn mark, which is said to really open this gate of the gods. And in esoteric astrology, Capricorn governs the gate of the gods, and I'm really proposing that this is when it happens. And we dove heavily into this in my Atlantis rabbit hole, so if you're interested in knowing what the hell I'm saying, join my Patreon. Every tier has access to my Atlantis rabbit hole, and I dove into this in that. But it's super complicated, and I'm not going to get into it now. But pretty much, Capricorn is here to help us climb our mountain, eventually exiting out the galactic center and on to some other school, planet, dimension, realm. I don't know. I just work here. But I know it's something probably cooler than this. I'm willing to bet. But we have Mars coming up against this. So Mars is the planet of action, right? Saturn has been restructuring stuff, but now this opposition to Mars in fiery Leo, who is extremely opinionated. This is a fixed T-square. These are all in fixed signs. So people are not wanting to budge on their views and the way they see things. And so we have Mars really taking action today and being like, these are my boundaries and this is what I need in order to be sovereign, Leo, in order to be safe Saturn, but we aren't safe. We are in the most chaotic, unpredictable times right now, and everything is being shaken up. So a lot of these boundaries that are being put up are because we can feel this tension, we can feel this energy, and we know we need to do something. We're going to get into here in a second what that something should be, even though many of us are falling on different ends of the spectrum. So we have Uranus square Saturn. You guys have heard me talk about this so much. It was exact again last month. It's still very much in play, like I said, 1 degree away, and this is the underlying current of the entire year. You guys have heard me call this the New World Order transit on a mundane level, how it creates like systematic upheaval, shakes systems to its core, and new dynasties and things are built. And right now they're very much tying this to all of the UN Davos. God, I can never not say things that get me in trouble. But the Davos agendas and the Great Reset 2030 agenda to, you know, implement a technocratic New World Order takeover. I've found certain connections to certain things that they've done that make me see that that is very much what this is about, including past transits that have similar undertones to them. So this transit, I know I have some notes here, so I would like to kind of stay with those. Where did I write those dates? Okay, so if you guys have followed me for a while, you heard me say that this Saturn-Uranus cycle that we're currently in the tail end of, it's a 45-year cycle that started in 1988, conjunct the galactic center, and ends in June of 2032 in Gemini, opposite the galactic center. And I wrote here that it is the divide, yet it symbolizes both sides, and that this is fucking huge. This structural upheaval that we're currently in the midst of, this pull between Saturn, the old structured safety, is what he is said to govern, but he also governs the karmic cycles that we need to make right in order to ascend up that mountain and out of this fucking place. And Uranus expands us off somewhere else. He sits beyond the confines of Saturn, and right now you will be hearing a lot of astrologers talking about Uranus as being the liberator, the awakener, here to push humanity forward. And yeah, he's here to do that, but he's here to do it in a very technological fashion. And right now we're seeing a major push in transhumanist technological energies coming forth, even entities coming forth, things like CERN and stuff like that, which is a whole nother rabbit hole that I don't really want to get into right now. But this transhumanist energy is not going anywhere. It doesn't have to answer to the structure of Saturn. It sits beyond him. Saturn is here working to help us be initiated out of here by like doing the proper shit, and it's like hard work and people don't want to do it, and it really requires diving into the self, owning up to your own authority, working through Saturn and Capricorn oppose Cancer, where we're at right now, the mirror realm that's ruled by the moon, the shadows, the subconscious, all the shit we need to work through in order to ascend up that mountain. If this is the axis we need to work on the most, and that is where we're at right now, but we have these Uranian, erratic, technologically based energies vying for like trying to distract us from the work that needs to be done in order to break free. Now, these energies, if used in a balanced fashion, can very much awaken and liberate and push humanity free, but they need that moral development. Rudolf Steiner used to say, In order for humanity not to fall again, I am paraphrasing like a lot, but in order for humanity not to fall again like Atlantis, yet to push forward with scientific materialism and technological advancements, they must develop 2 steps forward in morals and only 1 step forward in technology. And right now we are seeing this pushing so far forward and this not. And that's really where this energy this month is showing us. We're seeing a tug and war between Saturn and Uranus. Mars is stuck here as well, but while we have this energy, we also have Mars trining Chiron. Trining Chiron and Hecate, the goddess of magic. So while we have this very intense fixed T-square happening that is, I'm just going to read here some of my notes. This shit is volatile as fuck. These first 2 weeks are going to be intense. These are the most intense energies of the year. Expect the unexpected. People are going to be erratic and unpredictable, manic, and completely Uranian. Think mad scientist. And something is going to demand your immediate attention. That's Mars, your immediate attention. And I'm pretty sure that last line I got directly from Heather's newsletter. So again, please join her newsletter because she does a really good job of summing up the like key points of, you know, traditional astrology. So I wrote here, lean into Chiron, okay? Mars, while he's going to be opposing Saturn, he's going to be squaring Uranus, he's going to be trining Chiron. So we need to, in order to find a balanced state through this fixed T-square, we have to lean into both energies. We have to lean into Saturn, just the right amount, to see what he wants, because a square is conflicting energies that are at a tension, at some sort of conflict that is seeking resolution. So it's kind of like when my kids fight and you need to listen to both sides of the story, which I'm not always great at doing, where you need to like go over to Saturn and like listen to Saturn and what Saturn wants in order for you to push forward. And then you need to go to Uranus and listen to what Uranus wants. And you need to be like, okay, I don't want either of these. Where can I find a middle ground? Where can I give into this, and seek some sort of balanced, unified energy within the middle? And in order to do that, we're going to have to lean into Chiron, who is about to go retrograde later this month. I'm jumping all over the shit this month. We're not going in linear time. Chiron goes retrograde on the 15th. So this happens in the beginning of the month. Chiron, the sun squares Chiron on the 4th, and Mars trines Chiron on the 2nd. So our consciousness is coming up at a square and being shown these wounds that need integration, and Mars, our action, is trining it. So we're actually able to, like, I don't know, maybe fucking do something about it for a change. And if you can see, Chiron is right by the moon will transit over it on the 1st today, but then it'll be gone after that. But it's right by Hecate. So what is standing in the way of our unbridled magic? Hecate is said to be the Greek goddess of magic itself. She governs magic and all of the realms. She can go anywhere. She can go in the sky, she can go in the sea, she can go in the underworld, she can do whatever the fuck she wants, and none of those Greek gods or goddesses can tell her shit about it. She is magic itself, the epitome of magic. And what is standing in the way of us obtaining this magic is Chiron. It's those wounds. And what do we need in order to find some sort of middle ground between Saturn and Uranus, the tech and the structure? We need our fucking magic. And so in order to lean into that, we're going to have to be like, where are my wounds being triggered? How am I being misled or guided in certain ways because of past traumas or wounds? How am I misleading myself? How are this mirror realm reflecting back at me these traumas, these wounds, these things that I'm unable to see? Right now, we're able to see them. We have Sirius awakening us, helping us to see, and this weird mirror realm around us that's reflecting all the shit back at us. But none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. We're in a symbolic dreamland where everything is deep, deep, deep in the deep forest of our subconscious, and we're trying to make sense. And in order to do that, we have to let go. We have to let go, and we need to just recess into the waters of the subconscious, into the waters of the abyss, into the waters of Cancer, of our intuition, of our subconscious, and stop trying to control the situation. We had our Capricorn moon, it's over. Let go of the reins, free fall into the abyss, and that'll be the only way you can navigate it. If you try to control the situation, or you try to follow one of those fucking signs in Alice in Wonderland, you are going to get lost. You're going to come across a Mad Hatter and a drunk mouse, and it's going to be a shit show. You have to fall into the self. That yourself is the only person who is going to be able to help you navigate yourself. We're in the Cancer season. These are the deep recesses of the self, and that is the only place we need to be right now, particularly during this month and next month. And we'll get more into that here as we go. I know I said a bunch of things, so I just want to make sure that I said all this stuff. Okay, so I wrote here that Saturn and Uranus actually work together more often than not. They both rule Aquarius. Saturn used to be the traditional ruler of Aquarius. Now it governs Capricorn. And once Uranus was discovered, Uranus took over, but they're co-rulers. So they work together until they don't. And then they split. And it's a split between like too much boundaries and like literally no fucking boundaries. And neither one of these are going to push us forward. And so we need to find a balanced middle ground. And in order to do that, we need to let go some of the harshness around ourselves that Cancer season can help us do in order to even find those wounds that need integration. So like release some of Saturn's, not boundaries, but structure, and allow some of Uranus's brilliance to come in, but in a structured fashion. So it's going to be like melding these two energies, and in order to do that, it's Chiron. It's Chiron. I'm just going to hop over here to make sure you guys are still here before I go any further. Okay, Sharon is digging it. Okay. I know I'm jumping all over the place, guys, but let's just go through some of this stuff. So the first month is when all this energy that I just talked about becomes exact, but we're really going to be feeling it for a while. Mars is there for a little bit. Venus comes and joins the party a little bit later. But what I want to get to is the 5th here. So the beginning of the month is a shit show. Please do your best to navigate it. Come into the self, work through some wounds, be mindful of distractions, be mindful of extremes, and because there's two different extremes here that are happening. So be mindful of your pendulum being pulled in a certain direction, and really work to find this like balance centered space. So on the 5th, we have our Sun conjunct Sirius, the same time that the Sun sextiles Uranus. So the Sun is working harmoniously with that Uranian energy that does help flow downloads to our consciousness, and it is extremely ungrounded. At the same time, we have our Sun aligning with Sirius, which really does, if you're prepared and in alignment, blow you open and help you see some shit you couldn't fucking see before. Every year, I'm just like on the clock since I started working with the star, which has been about 5 years now, 4 or 5 years now. I'm just like blown away. And once I stopped working with the Lion's Gate, it was even more intense, mind-blowingly intense. the truths I could see, and the illusions that shattered. And right now, the illusions that are shattering revolve around the spiritual realm. We have both Neptune, the planet of illusions, and Jupiter, both co-rulers of Pisces, retrograde in Pisces. Jupiter is restructuring our beliefs around the spiritual realm, and Neptune is shattering some fucking illusions so we can see what needs to be restructured. And we're seeing things for what they truly are, and it is painful, and it is not unexpected, and it is shocking, and it is symbolic and confusing and magical, but illusionary at the same time. So I wrote that we'll be seeing clearly and nothing will make sense all at the same time. That's kind of where we're at, because even though Neptune is retrograde, and every time Neptune goes retrograde, it's shattering illusions, and Jupiter is restructuring beliefs, they're in Pisces. They're in Pisces. They're in dreamland, and we're in mirror land right now as we're in Cancer season. So we're navigating mirror land while our planets are restructuring dreamland, and nothing makes sense. So we gotta stop trying to make it make sense, and instead kind of just allow this initiation to kind of take place for us. Like, okay, I guess I wrote it right here, so I'll just go ahead and read this. I wrote here on the 5th, our Sirius Sun activation is exact at 9:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the 5th. In the East Coast, I believe it is the 6th when it is exact. So I wrote, this is a new initiation upon us during Neptune retrograde. Illusions are shattering and we can see. Our Capricorn full moon helped us to perhaps, keyword, take a step up our stairs, like the slide, or our mountain of initiation after a year of hard work. Now, a new cycle begins. And this cycle happens, I realize this right now, that we have this Capricorn culmination right before our Sirius initiation every year around this time, around the solstice into July. It's big time. I wrote here that over this past month, we were tested. And this month will make it painfully clear whether you passed or not. You will either be shown some startling truths, although I think you will be shown either way. It'll just be a matter of if it's complete upheaval and destruction to your life, or some sort of evolutionary force that pushes you forward in an aligned, balanced fashion, or in a destructive fashion. Both ways will push you forward. Some startling truths. Or are we blinded by illusions, repeating the lesson once more? We have a lot of retrogrades right now, so a lot of this is repeat, a lot of this is redo, a lot of this is helping us to get the lesson this time. So if you feel yourself repeating, don't think you failed. You see all these retrograde planets, you're supposed to be reassessing, redoing, reconfiguring, restructuring everything right now in order to come into alignment. So do it. Lean into the re's, because that's where the lessons are. I said, are you climbing your mountain or someone else's? Is it even a mountain? This is kind of what I was thinking when I was looking at that 7 of Cups card. Are you climbing your mountain or someone else's? Is this even a mountain? For illusions are all around us, and the mirror realm is real. 7 of Cups. Which cup did you choose? Was it chosen for you? Do you need to dump it out and pick again? What is the esoteric versus the exoteric reality, and where do they meet here in this realm? Am I grounded in reality, or has my pendulum been swung to one of these extremes or the other? Leaning into your wounds will bring you back to center, and this month will answer all these questions. This month into next month, into Leo season. that'll be when we really wake up and be like, oh shit, what the fuck? So I wrote here that the three main Sirius activations are our sun's conjunction on the 5th, our new moon on the 9th is huge for the Sirius energy, and then Mercury will conjunct it on the 20th, and that is when a lot of the downloads will flow through if we did what we're supposed to do. Yeah, that rhymed too. Oh dear God. Okay, so on the 6th, we have Mercury. So right after we have that fixed T-square become exact with Mars involved, we have our Sun conjunct Sirius. While it's sextiling Uranus. So this is downloads. These are Uranian downloads. Very erratic. Make sure you're fucking staying grounded. Please, please make sure you're staying grounded. We move into the 6th where Mercury squares Neptune retrograde. So Mercury in Gemini, in its home sign of Gemini, square Neptune in its home sign of Pisces. Both of these planets rule like how we see and understand things. Mercury rules them here in Gemini, right here, rules them in like a logical, analytical fashion, where it sees both sides of things and often tries to pick something in the middle, but can swing to any perspective upon its whim. And it's very much focused on the mental, logical, analytical processes of the mind, while Neptune is very focused on fantasy and illusion and spirituality and magic and stuff that just doesn't fucking make any sense. And right now, Neptune is like the planet of rose-colored glasses, where you're just like in perma Alice in Wonderland, and you know, you're not confused like Alice, like, whoa, what the fuck is going on in here? What the hell is that cat saying? And what do you mean a very merry birthday? And what the fuck is here? And who am I? Who are you? Like, super confused, and instead she's just following it along blindly. Neptune is known to kind of be an escapist type energy. And right now, at the beginning of its retrograde, while these illusions start to shatter, a lot of Neptunian-based people, Piscean energy, people who have Neptune strong in their chart, I have it square my sun, so I do have a lot of this energy as well. But which is where my drug addiction came in, because it is the escapist. And so when these illusions are shattering, sometimes these people can lean even farther in to the illusion itself, to where they are consumed by the dream and are no longer lucid and part of it at all, and are a victim to the fantasy. So Mercury squaring that energy on the 6th, the same time as Venus joins this party here, this T-square starts to join it and opposes Saturn. So Venus is our relationships. Venus is our close relationships, and Saturn right now is in the sign of the collective, the sign of humanity, the sign of groups, of different humanitarian organizations and collectives. And Venus and Mars right now are in Leo, which is the sign of the egoic passions of the self. And right now, in order to kind of stand in alignment with that energy, new structures are having to be built here. So the day that Mercury, the planet of communication and the mind, comes into this square with Neptune, I feel like a lot of these illusions that maybe we're not aware of yet, some of them we might be, but not all of them, are going to become painfully clear as they shatter and are implemented into our logical forefront of our mind, Mercury, and then not only will the self, Mars, be opposing this energy and taking some action, but Venus comes into play. And so this is going to affect our relationships, and it's going to affect what it is that we love. If whatever it is that's happening goes against our core passions and what it is that our creative energy wants for us, which is Leo, well, we're going to have to make some sort of new structure. So the same time that we see some stuff, some things are going to be changing. There's going to be so much change this month. It's just a month of like literal change. We thought eclipse season was intense. Like this is intense, guys. This is intense. Okay, so on the 8th, Venus officially joins this fixed T-square party. I called it right here, although that says apart and not party because I forgot the Y. Okay, yeah, I wrote here that on this day, the 6th, when we have this square and then we also have this going on, I wrote here, illusions will be shattering and then nothing will make sense all at the same time. That's where I wrote that. So, like, don't try to make it make sense. Think of it more as a dream. Think of it more symbolic. Think of it more esoteric. And that's going to be how we're going to navigate it. Think Cancer. Think going with the flows, the ebbs and flows, the intuition, the water, the abyss of the subconscious. Let it show you. Cancer not only rules the mirror realm, but it's governed by the moon. That's why it's the mirror realm. The moon is the mirror, right? The moon reflects the sun's light so it can even fucking see itself and deal with itself. And that's what this month is going to be all about. The like dealing with the deep recesses of the self that are being triggered right now in a plethora of ways in order for us to even see that they exist. So I wrote here that Venus joins the party on the 8th. And then it starts to come into its conjunction with Mars, which won't be exact until the 13th. This is a fairly pivotal transit. It happens like once every 2 years when Venus conjuncts Mars. And it says that a new like relationship cycle starts. Venus and Mars are the lovers of the zodiac. And when they conjunct, a new 2-year relationship story begins. And this conjunction is happening in Leo, which is the sign of romance. It is the sign of passionate passions and creativity. So this 2-year cycle has that sort of like undertone as we move forward. And I wrote here that they conjunct in a trine to Chiron and Hecate. So remember how we were talking about how we need to integrate these wounds in order to unlock this magic? Well, it's not just us. It's us and our partner, our very, very, very close romantic partner, more likely than not, but it could also be like a business partner because the 7th house also rules like business partnerships as well. But I wrote here, how will the lovers, right here, heal their wounds in order to find a middle space between this and this, Saturn and Uranus, in order to find a middle space between the erratic and futuristic Uranus with no boundaries at all, and rigid, restrictive Saturn with too many. As we navigate the last 10 years of this 45-year Saturn-Uranus story, which started at the galactic center and ends opposing the galactic center, both the divide and both sides are upon us. We are in the midst of huge structural upheaval, and our close partnerships are the only ones that are going to see us through that. This is happening in Cancer season, the season of the home. These are very, very, very close partnerships. Our children, our mother as well. This is the sign of mother. Our children, our mother, I'm stuttering because I'm trying to say too many things at once. Leo also rules, also governs children as well. So our children, our lovers, and those very close to us in our relationships are the ones that we need to be leaning into in this time, because those are who are going to help us through this. And this is a 10-year ending of something that's been culminating for my entire life. The conjunction happened only a few months after I was born in 88. I was born in September of 87, and it happened, I think, January 88. February, I think it was February 88. Okay, so I'm trying to just talk about the key points here, guys. All right, let's go into the 9th, which is our Cancer new moon. So if you are a Patreon member of mine, we will be diving heavily into this on the 8th for a live stream. This is like a brief understanding of it. So this moon falls at 18 degrees? I think it falls at 18 degrees. I'm not changing the time. Yeah, 18 degrees, 2 minutes. So the moon falls at 18 degrees of Cancer, only 4 degrees away from Sirius. The sun and moon will be conjunct at 18 degrees. This moon is square Chiron and Hecate. Those wounds and that magic, the wounds that are standing in the way of that magic, we've already talked about that. It's square that. So we're being triggered in order to obtain this. Some kind of triggers happen that needs resolution so that we can seek some balance there. It's sextiling both Uranus and Atlantis. So we're being given a chance to connect with these two archetypes. Sextiles are not like trines. They're not as easy flowing as trines. They'll require some sort of work on our part, but if we work, we can flow with this energy. And then it opposes Pluto, which is retrograde right now in Capricorn, transmuting our Capricorn house. It's been there for so fucking long, doing so much work. These like the tail end of its being there for the next like year or two. I don't know when Pluto moves into Cap, but I knew it's going to be there next year when it conjuncts America's Pluto and they have their Pluto return. I'm not American. And so that's really asking us to do some sort of like transformation, some sort of purging, some sort of let go, some sort of transition, death, rebirth energy. And the same time as all this lunation is happening, Mercury opposes the galactic center. So Mercury, our mental mind, our human muggle mind that we can like actually like hear and listen, not our subconscious, not our higher mind, but like our forefront of our logical mind, is in opposition. So the Earth is always here in the center of the zodiac wheel where all these lines crisscross. So we have the galactic center here, Earth here, Mercury here. So in order to funnel in whatever it is that the galactic center wants to fucking shoot our way, we have to get into the body again. We have to really get into the body and ground and be grounded in reality and within our physical body in order to funnel that in through our body and into our mind, if that makes any sense. So I wrote here, in such an alley fashion, I wrote here that for this moon, Sirius is here to help us see some shit. Chiron and Hecate are here to help us integrate some shit through triggered action. Uranus and Atlantis are here to help us awaken some shit. And Pluto is here to help us transmute some shit. So we're gonna have a lot of things in order to do that are all crisscrossing here within the body in order for us to truly funnel in this galactic download and this serious initiation that this month holds for us. It's going to require a lot of work from like a million different directions. If you feel like you're being pulled from every direction, you are. You literally are. And the only way to navigate this without getting pulled in the wrong direction or somebody else's direction or just a million different directions to where you're just burnt out and you can't even find the right direction, is to come back into the self. Right now, what is required of us is to travel the subconscious because we are in Cancer season. We also need to find a way to get into the body, to really get into the body in order to integrate all of these. So I'm just going to read whatever it is I have written here. But remember, Sirius helps us see some shit. Chiron, Hecate, integrate some shit. Uranus, Atlantis, awaken some shit. And Pluto to transmute some shit. So it's going to be a huge moon. A huge, huge, huge moon. Oh, and by the way, everybody wish Sharon a happy birthday. Her birthday is tomorrow on the 2nd. Happy birthday, Sharon. Okay. So in order to understand what the galactic center is telling us and how we can or should navigate the ending of this 10-year cycle, which remember started on the galactic center and will end opposite the galactic center in 2032. So in order to understand what this fucking huge cycle is about that we're in the midst of right now, you know, the thing I'm calling the New World Order cycle, in order to understand what this galactic center, what the galactic center is telling us and how we can and should navigate this 10-year ending of this galactic cycle that spans my entire lifetime, we need to work with all these different points that I just said, all the different shits, remember? Shit, and get into the body. It's really going to be about grounding into the physical body. Because we're going to be just like blast off into space, because on the 11th is when Sirius makes its conjunction with, or Mercury makes its conjunction with Sirius, because Sirius is really not moving, Mercury is. On the 20th, it makes its conjunction on the 20th, but on the 11th, Mercury enters Cancer. So on the 11th, Mercury enters Cancer. And we're going to be switching from Mercury in its home sign of Gemini, mental, mind, analytical, trying to make sense of everything, trying to collect all this data and really try to make sense. And then Mercury's going to enter Cancer. And we're going to get thrown. We're going to get thrown into the deep recesses of our own subconscious, of our shadow, of our traumas, of our wounds, of it all. Because remember, all these things are squaring Chiron. Mercury will later, and the sun practically is right now. And this shift from Mercury in Gemini to Mercury in Cancer is going to have us seeing, yes. We'll have that intuition, we'll have that serious ability to see if we dive into the abyss. We have to really trust the unknown in order to have this initiation. It will help us see, but it's going to help us very much get into our feelings and help us navigate that emotional realm as well, but from a mental space. We're going to be in our feelings, we're going to be crying a fucking lot. It's going to help us express some things that are deep inside that we're unable to, but it probably will involve some tears or maybe some explosions, because Cancer loves that too. So we are able to see, feel, express. The focus is going to be on our home. This is going to be a trip deep into the subconscious waters in order to illuminate what Sirius is ready to show you. The focus is going to be on the subconscious. This is the moon, the shadow, the mirror realm. These are the repressed aspects that we refuse to look at, that stand in the way of this grounded initiation. The mountain, I wrote here, the mountain unlocks the magic. So if you guys remember, my patrons, we talked about the 3 archetypes of Capricorn and how the zodiac wheel, you know, it goes from Aries down to the bottom. The abyss is Cancer. It's the bottom of the chart. It's as deep as it goes, the subconscious. And the sea goat is there, and he travels the deep recesses of the subconscious to integrate it all. And then we travel up as the mountain goat, and we start to climb the mountain. And if we are initiated and allowed out into our wizarding abilities, because we've climbed this mountain, we enter the 3rd and final archetype of Capricorn, which is the unicorn. Well, right now we are the water goat, and our job is to dive into the abyss and see what is in there. What do we forget? What do we need in order to help us to make this trek up? Because this is where the answers hold. In order to get up the mountain, we have to unlock the magic. Okay, so on the 13th, the Mars and Venus conjunction is exact. So this is going to be a huge recalibration, or like start of a new cycle when it comes to our relationships, particularly romantic relationships. It's in the sign of romance. It's got this, the planet of passion, the planet of love, both together. And I wrote here that the lovers unite against the system for a new 2-year cycle. If you see here, these planets conjunct, yes, they're far enough away in order to not be like stuck in that T-square, but they're still part of it, okay? So we have over here at 20 degrees opposite the Saturn square Uranus, okay? But still trining Hecate, the magic, right? So it's kind of moved out of the grasp of Chiron. It's kind of moved out of the grasp of Saturn. It's kind of moved out of the grasp of Uranus, but it's in alignment, in a trine with Hecate, this activation. So it's like, how can the lovers unlock their magic so they can navigate the system? They're still like entangled in that energy, but able to kind of sit outside of it and look in. So this will definitely be a period for romance, love, and passion, but it's going to have us taking some sort of action in regards to our part that we play in this cycle, or helping us to at least like harness some of the magic that we're going to need in order to navigate it, because that is what we need in order to navigate this energy. So on the 15th, Chiron will station retrograde, okay? I'm not really going over any of the lunar transits this month. If you guys look at the bottom, all those blue transits are, if you look at the bottom of the slide I had in the beginning, all the blue transits at the bottom with the white fonts are our moon's transit throughout the whole month as it makes contact with all of the starseed points. And that really helps us to integrate it into those deep recesses of the self, take the far aspects and integrate them into our closest aspects. I normally go through all of those this month, but I'm on a different tip. I'm on a different tip. So they're there if you are interested to know what the moon is doing throughout the month, but I'm only going to cover a couple. So the day before, on the 15th, the moon did transit Atlantis, which probably would be prevalent for a lot of us, so you might want to take note of that. But on the 15th, the moon transits the supergalactic center the same time that Chiron stations retrograde, and the sun trines Neptune retrograde, okay? So this will be after our Sirius moon. after the big brunt of this like Mars, Saturn, Uranus, T-square, because Mars has moved out of it, entering into a calmer period, but still not calm at all. But on the 15th, Chiron will station retrograde here, the same time that the Sun trines Neptune retrograde. Okay, so by this point, by the 15th, a lot of those illusions that maybe we were in denial were shattering, or we stuck our head in the sand, or we really put on the rose-colored glasses, or we really, followed the rabbit into something very confusing. And we got lost in this spiritual Neptunian Jupiterian realm of the magic and the mystical and the unseen and the dream land, while traveling the mirror realm. If we were really lost, if we were really confused, the Sun trining Neptune retrograde on this day should be a period where some of these are brought to our attention. Now, a normal Sun trine Neptune would mean the Sun's energy is working harmoniously with Neptune's. So we would be able to tap into our spirituality, we would be able to tap into our creativity, we would be able to make nice art and do magical things and paint and make music and all that jazz. Or we could fall into some sort of escapism tactics, some sort of polarized spiritual energy, some sort of even drug addiction, maybe the taking of illicit drugs that inebriate us and lead us deeper into fantasy and illusion, or we can take that energy to create and manifest something magical and beautiful. Now, Neptune is retrograde. So Neptune has been working on shattering illusions for us. Whether we wanted to fucking pay attention to them or not, it's been happening. If you are the person who's been on the side of the spectrum that has been like the rose-colored glasses are trying to come off and you're like, no, and trying to put them back on, they're gonna shatter, and you're gonna see things. You're gonna see things on this day, and you can either integrate that into your consciousness, the Sun here, and it will require us to now lean into Chiron, which just stationed retrograde. So he's like, oh, whoops. There were some wounds here that I didn't completely work through. There was definitely some stuff that was just triggered here for me to pay attention to. I'm gonna focus on this for a little bit. So Saturn's going retrograde in order to like reintegrate, re-understand, and reprocess some wounds that have gotten us into some illusionary situations. That's what's going to be triggered around this time. So the Sun is going to understand some of the work Neptune's been doing. We can either run from that, and it doesn't matter, the illusions will shatter and we'll be like forced into our wounds, or we can be like, oh shit, that illusion just shattered, and I need to work through some stuff in order to be able to get my grounding again and understand my reality as it is. So just trying to cover the important points of the month. You guys have the calendar for all the other transits. So that was the 15th, right? Where that energy first kind of starts with Chiron retrograde. On the 19th, Mercury, which now is here legitimately conjunct Sirius. It will be exactly conjunct the next day on the 20th. Mercury is sextile Uranus. So conjunct Sirius, sextile Uranus. This is the most like ungrounded psychic energy, but extremely ungrounded energy at this time. But it's the same time that Mercury squares Chiron. So we had some stuff come into our consciousness, and now we have some stuff come into our mind that can like think. So when the stuff came into the Sun, our our solar aspect we could see. And now that we're having Chiron square Mercury, we're like, okay, I can see. And now I've thought a little bit about it. And I've also had a couple of things shown to me that I wasn't aware of before. And so now, because of this, and this, I see what it is that I need to do. So hopefully this Mercury Chiron square is the kind of trigger that isn't volatile, although it could very well be if you are in denial. Oh my gosh, this month can be just a complete disaster for you if you are in denial. So please, please ground yourself, please. Ground yourself and take a deep breath and try to navigate this from the idea that nothing makes sense and anything can happen. This energy, especially the beginning of the month, is so unpredictable and erratic. It is off the fucking charts weird. Off the charts weird. I might even be quoting Heather on that. I don't think she said off the charts weird. That sounds like a me thing. But she's like, this is the weirdest, craziest, intense, strangest energy. It's not just me. Other astrologers are saying this too. So when Mercury squares Chiron on the 9th, hopefully it's like, okay, I thought about this. I dove Mercury into the deep recesses of my subconscious, Cancer. Sirius helped fucking guide me, and it was integrated into my mind and my forefront of my consciousness and my vital life senses, the sun. I dove in there with some light, Sirius, and the sun in order to kind of see what's in there. And now I know what I need to do. So this trigger that happens hopefully is just the kind of trigger that's like, okay, yeah, now I'll work to integrate that throughout this Chiron retrograde cycle. And hopefully it's not the kind that you like ran from this energy or fell deeply into it and now like everything is shattering around you, like dark night of the soul, which this energy, particularly through Cancer season with all these planets in Pisces, is ripe for a dark night of the soul, complete existential dread, pulling you into the abyss. But I've been there. And there are some wonderful things you can learn down there. And when you come back out and you come back into reality, the things that you found while traveling this vast spiritual realm that doesn't make any sense will make sense. But usually not for quite a while, like 18 months often. That's how long it took for me till I made any sense anyway, after my deep, or my peak awakening and my deep dark night of the soul. It took a while before I really knew what that was about. Although, in the middle of it, I sure thought I knew. I sure thought I knew what was going on. Okay, so on the 19th, we have the Mercury square Chiron retrograde. On the 20th, it's then going to be exactly conjunct Sirius while sextiling Uranus. Please stay grounded. Like, just write that all over here. Ground, stay grounded, ground, because that is the only way we're going to navigate this. Before I came in here, I took the dog out and I was like standing out on the grass, breathing with my feet on the grass because I can feel this volatile energy trying to pull me in every single direction, and it's hard. It's hard to find a centered space when everything is pulling you, and sometimes your path is to get pulled in one of these ways, and you'll learn so many lessons in that polarized trajectory when your pendulum comes back to center. So on the 20th, Mercury conjuncts Sirius. That's one of those huge Sirius activations. You definitely want to make sure that you are paying attention to that. It's going to be sextile Uranus at the same time. So it's erratic, electric. Downloads that come through, write them down. But make sure that you understand that we are in this mirror realm where nothing is as it seems. Nothing is as it seems. And then on the 21st, we can all take at least a little breath of fresh air when Venus enters Virgo. Whew. And we start to move out of this like Leo, Cancer, T-square energy, and we get some grounded Virgo vibes. Now, remember, Virgo is an earth sign, but it is ruled by Mercury, which is a mental planet. So, in order for Virgo to not turn into, okay, I'm talking from experience because I have a Virgo rising and a Virgo Mars, okay? In order for Virgo not to turn into a neurotic hot mess, obsessing on something, they have to stay grounded. They have to lean into that earthly, bodily aspect because it rules the sixth house of the body. Need to really lean into that and not so much the mind. The mind kind of comes naturally for Virgo, but it comes so naturally that they like to lean into it. But this will definitely bring a grounded energy to our relationships and to our passions moving forward. On the 22nd, the sun is going to enter Leo. Venus opposes Jupiter retrograde that same day, which honestly is actually a really good transit. Venus opposing Jupiter. Venus and Jupiter making any sort of connections with each other, even like oppositions and squares, which are normally more tense for other planets, are beneficial. These are astrology's two benefics. Usually they come to bestow wonderful things upon us. Usually it has to do with some sort of expansion because of Jupiter. However, Jupiter is retrograde. I understand this energy very well. I think it's what's helping me navigate this right now is because I'm kind of on my home turf while everybody else is trying to navigate all these retrogrades, including Jupiter, the higher mind's retrograde, which is not normal for them. Jupiter is normally retrograde for me. Jupiter is retrograde in the 8th house, so I'm used to this energy. I'm used to the internal expansion, which is what Jupiter retrograde is all about. Internal expansion. It's my jam. It's my life. I'm used to this shit. So this opposition between Jupiter and Venus is going to have some sort of like internal expansion within our relationships in a like spiritual aspect because Jupiter's in Pisces. So some sort of like internal spiritual expansion within our relationships is kind of how I'm reading this. And then the sun enters Leo on that day. Leo, we've already talked about how Leo is the sign of romance. It's the sign of passions, of children, of creativity. So while you're having this internal expansion right after this Venus-Mars conjunction we had, the sun's entering this sign that's very focused on the romantic and the passionate aspects of life. So things get better as we move on into the month. But it's still that tense energy that we've kind of been feeling all year. But we're really going to be triggered at the beginning of the month for those first 2 weeks of the month are going to be the most intense. On the 23rd, we have our Aquarius. Whoa! Please stop. Okay, hold on. I hit the wrong button. What is happening? Month? July, what did I say? July 23rd. Okay, hold on, let me just write that here. Okay, so on July 23rd, we have our Aquarius full moon. So this is going to be a culmination in the area of our life that is ruled by Aquarius. Aquarius governs the collective, it governs groups, it governs friends, it governs progressive reform, rebellion, revolution, the advancement of society, often through technology, but hopefully through some sort of aspect of brotherhood is also an energy of Aquarius. But Aquarius really needs to integrate the magical realm in order to progress forward. So we'll be talking about how we can do that for this moon. But this moon is definitely going to be a culmination in that area of our life that has been building over the past 6 months. A culmination and a release. Look to see what house Aquarius rules in your chart to get an idea of where you might be experiencing this. All right. On the 24th, Mercury trines Neptune retrograde. So again, that's going to be Mercury here. Mercury is going to be in the deep waters of the subconscious, and it's going to be trining Neptune retrograde in the deep waters of fucking Pisces, which is the unconscious, and they're trining each other. So again, nothing's going to make sense while simultaneously illusions are shattering. Just allow it to happen and take note, and then later you will be calm and collected enough in order to see what just shattered and what is reality. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to see what else I want to cover here. So on the 25th, Mercury opposes Pluto retrograde. So Mercury will oppose Pluto retrograde on the 25th. And then after we were really working with Neptune, okay, so some shit shattered. Now I can see a little bit of it. Pluto is going to come in and be like, okay, so now we need to purge some shit and transmute some shit because all of that was bullshit. And that's how we're going to work through this. Pluto's going to come in and kind of take the reins in order for us to work through the illusions that were these blockages that we've talked about before. If you're one of my patrons, that stand in the way of the light and that create shadow, because shadows are created by something standing in the way of shining light. Shadows are cast. So these are blockages, these are illusions, these are distortions, these are things that are standing in the way that are going to be shattering and transmuting. On the 27th, Mercury joins the Leo party, and so our mind will be, our mental faculties will be shifting out of the subconscious realm at around this time. We'll have our Sun and Mercury both out of Cancer, and into Leo. This is when we start to actually wake up from the dream, and we're like, oh, yeah, that was weird. And we're going to be like, okay, now I can see where this and this and this were illusionary, where this and this and this were like, okay, that was valid, and how you can start to move forward and stand into your sovereignty. Just in time for some things to switch up, some energy to just send us in a new trajectory. So Mercury entering Leo, we're going to be very more expressive of our personal truths, our creative passions, what it is that lights us up. Think lion, roar. People are going to be loud and fiery. So keep that in mind as we navigate Leo season. We'll talk more about that next month, but this energy is asking us to work through our light. Okay, Leo is governed by the sun, and in the spiritual realm, we talk an awful lot about shadow. We talk an awful lot about the work we need to do in the shadow, the darkness, the shadow, the integrating, and all that stuff. And like, we never, I mean, I do. If you guys are over here, you've heard me say it, but most people never, ever, ever address the issues on the light. The issues of the light, which is the ego, which is the mind, which is the masculine aspect. And during Leo season, we're all going to be shining bright and casting motherfucking shadows everywhere. And we really are going to need to work on our light and work on integrating that with our darkness. Because they need to unite as one, and the light never, ever, ever, ever wants to do that. So Mercury will be entering Leo, and we're all going to be loud and roaring, and so be mindful. Use that as a chance to, I don't know, maybe not do that, and instead channel your sovereignty, your ability to stand in your strength and your passion and your creativity and the expression of the self, while not being a tyrannical king or queen that is stepping on others, because Leo rules the patriarchy, it rules royalty, it rules the elite, it rules the hierarchy of I am above you and you're, you know, like a peasant. So find a way to stand in your sovereignty without needing to be above anyone else, and instead being able to shine your light among everyone else. Jupiter enters Aquarius on the 28th, okay? So Jupiter has been retrograde in Pisces. He dipped into Pisces and then went retrograde, and now is dipping back into Aquarius. So he had already been expanding the area of our life that is ruled by Aquarius throughout 2020. And now he's back for a little bit more. He entered at the end of January 21st, 2020. So he's been there all throughout 2021. My bad. And then he entered here. Now he's dipping back in. So he's dipping back in to do a little expansion in the area of your life that was ruled by Aquarius, but it's going to force you to redo some shit. He's going in there retrograde. He's like, okay, I missed something here at the end of my travels. I'm going to go through, I'm going to redo this, and then I'm going to expand the fuck out of it. And then he's just going to like expand that area before he then goes into Pisces again to work on that some more. So that Jupiter entering back into Aquarius happens on the 28th. The same day that Venus will conjunct Alpha Draconis. So we've had a lot of relationship activations this month. This is more of an esoteric one that if you tap in and align with will unlock so much for you. All of these like hidden asteroid or fixed star placements, those are more esoteric. They're not necessarily in the four. It's my kid. Hello? I'm just making sure my kid's not awake. Thought I heard something. Not necessarily in the forefront of your consciousness. Well, Venus will conjunct Draco on the 28th, Alpha Draconis. So this is going to be a chance for us to either understand our loved one's shadow better in order to like accept them as themselves where they are at right now, and integrate our own that stand in the way of healthy relationships, and then simultaneously together work to like integrate some of the relationships that are like part of the some of the shadows that are part of the relationship dynamic. Draco is a lot about diving deep into the shadow in order to integrate that and truly find the darkness, which is not the shadow. It is something different. It is that primordial darkness that births all potential, and therefore is the gold that the dragon holds and guards, because it is untapped potential. It is anything. It is the ability to manifest. It is magic. And so right now, there's going to be some things that are standing in the way of that like relationship magic, the magic that happens like within relationships. And this is an opportunity to work through some things that are standing in the way, which everybody has things. On the 29th, Mars will enter Virgo as well, and we'll start to really feel, I mean, I will like that because my Mars is in Virgo, so I'll actually be able to get things done. Or I'll turn into a little neurotic ADD mess. So you need to stay grounded. You really need to stay grounded. Or the anxiety levels can be really high with Virgo energy. But Mars will enter Virgo on the 29th. And that is more of this like grounded breath of fresh air. Now this whole month is preparing us for the Sun to conjunct Alexandria next month on the 5th. I wrote here that this Sirius initiation is grounded by Andromeda. So the reason why I say that is this month is an Andromeda month. If you look at the calendar, it starts with the moon transiting Andromeda on the 1st, hitting the Andromeda vertex, which is the black hole at the center of the Andromeda galaxy, on the 2nd, and then continuing through Andromeda from the 3rd to the 4th as all that fixed T-square becomes exact. Our moon, our closest aspect, our closest psychic body, is transiting Andromeda. The month ends, so we have these two anchor points of this initiation. The month ends with Andromeda, Andromeda vertex, Andromeda, the 29th, the 30th, and the 31st. So this Sirius initiation is sandwiched between these twin flame activations. So it's very much governed around balancing those polarities within the self, but also the relationship dynamics. And I know many of us have these like divine partnership dynamics in our reality, and it really is going to be our anchor point throughout this. I wrote here, this Sirius initiation is grounded by Andromeda. Who either will or will not impart upon you a key to unlock Alexandria on the 5th. So depending on how this initiation goes through, depends on whether or not you will be bestowed the key to unlock this energy. And I said it depends largely on how we navigated the period from the Capricorn full moon last month to our Cancer new moon on the 9th. That is the huge period of initiation that really will depend on how we move forward. Are we repeating a cycle, or are we taking the next step on those stairs? And then I have a couple of notes here that I guess I didn't go through, and then we'll hop into the slides. So this is just about Cancer in general. I wrote, we're in Cancer season. This is the mirror realm. It's ruled by the moon, the deep subconscious, the unseen, the unknown. Think Alice. Think the apotheum effect of like an acid trip, you know? Nothing makes sense. You think about being high on acid or mushrooms or something like that. I mean, maybe some of you can think about that. Maybe some of you have no idea what I'm talking about. But you can imagine what it would be like to be on some sort of psychedelic. And lots of things are coming through, but it's so, or like ayahuasca or something like that, which I guess is more, people like that better these days, I guess. I don't know. But think about all these messages coming through and all this stuff. And think about like the type of mind state that you're in at that time. Everything makes sense, but you can't explain it, and nothing makes sense at the same time. And it isn't until like you ground back down to reality that you're able to look at it from a subjective place and be like, okay, I see what this meant now. It's like the dream makes no sense while you're in it, but sometimes, you know, you hop on the Discord, if you're on my Patreon, and you chat like, hey, yo, I had this weird dream about Saved by the Bell or whatever, and then we can like psychoanalyze you, and then the weird dream that made no fucking sense while you were in it, now that you're at a higher perspective, is like, okay, I can see what part of this was about, and I can see how a lot of the other things were dreamy illusions. And that's kind of what this Cancer energy is very, very, very much like. Cancer, ruled by the moon. We're asleep. It's dream time. It's the bottom. It's the IC. It's the darkness. This is the peak of the chart, like noon. And the 4th house is the deepest we can go. So I said here, think this like apotheum effect of like being high. Nothing makes sense. We are in a forest of our own subconscious, and everyone and everything is a mirror. We're in a hall of mirrors. The question is, can you make it out with both sanity and clarity? In order to do this, we will need to embrace the abyss. Lead, don't follow. Walk into the unknown. You'll be amazed at what you're shown. And then I said, is this a lucid dream, or are you chasing the white rabbit? And I said this is a dream that we won't wake up from until Leo season. So are you in control, or are you following the trail of something? and that's what I said right here. Are you leading the rabbit or is the rabbit leading you? Fall into the abyss and don't follow anything. Does that make sense? That's kind of where we're at. And take note of everything around you, because everything is reflecting yourself back at you. Always, really, in reality, but particularly right now. And these are the things you cannot see. These are the deep, 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 deep recesses of your subconscious, of Cancer. And then, as we enter into Leo season, these are the deep, deep, deep recesses of your fucking ego. Okay, we have the moon and the sun. These are our two luminaries, governed by the moon, Cancer, governed by the sun, Leo. These are the two things that are seeking integration and balance. The sun has just as much motherfucking work to do as the moon. And the only way the sun can even see it is if the moon reflects it back at the sun. So we're in this weird dynamic where we're going to be swinging from one extreme to the other and trying to find balance in between. So if you feel extreme right now, please seek some balance, seek some grounding, seek some clarity, because that'll be the only place where you can discern truth. Truth is found everywhere. It's found in both poles, and it's found in the center. But you have to travel it all in order to come into center and integrate what is true from both sides. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm going to go back over and we're going to do the cards. Janelle says, can we go back to July later? Like, I knew it was a lot, but it's really a lot, lol. Yeah, it's kind of really a lot, you guys. And, you know, then we're going into Lionsgate, the fucking ritual that we're gonna have to fucking try not to get our energy siphoned from, which, by the way, tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, I'll be doing my last and final Lionsgate video on, I'm saying that because I'm going to change the word, and I don't want to say these words anymore. Lionsgate video at 9 o'clock tomorrow night, and then it'll be on YouTube, and hopefully it won't get the sound taken off of it like my one on Instagram did last year, and then I can just keep directing people to that, and I never have to talk about this thing or give up my energy ever again. But tune in for that, well, tomorrow, when I chat about all that, and then I disappear again for a little bit. Okay. We're going to pull some cards. Janelle says, I think IG is going to be less again this month. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be staying off of Instagram and spending a lot more time on Discord, where we can chat about all kinds of cool things. So definitely join our Patreon, and then you can join our Discord community where we chat about all kinds of crazy shit. Okay, so I pulled some cards. If you are a member of my Patreon and you are in my Discord, you probably are familiar with one of these cards because I have pulled it 4 times this week. There's no equals a full sentence. I have pulled this card. This is at least the 3rd time. At least the 3rd time. And this is very much that Saturn. It's very much Saturn retrograde, setting some boundaries in order to stay safe and sovereign in their own authority. So these are the different cards. I pulled a couple of different cards we're going to dive into here. But these are from the Spiritual AF deck, and they're sassy, and I like them, and they are one of my most accurate cards right now, because while we are traveling this mirror realm, divination, synchronicities, things are not accurate. Pendulums, not accurate. Fucking card pulls have not been accurate. Once I looked at the stars, because I've been on a break, I have not been doing readings. I have been on a break the past 2 weeks. So I knew what was coming this month for the most part, but like, not really all of it. And then I dove into the month and I was like, oh. Duh, that's why nothing's fucking making any sense. Okay, all right, I get it, I got you. But throughout this time, I have had 2 decks that have just been lit, like on fire. And it's my this spiritual AF deck, which just kind of tells it as it is. And then the archetype deck from the Wild Unknown, which I pulled a card from that too, which of course is perfect. So these are the ones that we got from Janelle says she loves those cards. I haven't pulled cards for me in like a month, just talking and grounding outside. Then you did the right thing, because every card I pulled, it confused me more. And that's when I was like, oh yeah, remember what you said last month? I went and watched my video and I was like, oh yeah, everything makes sense now. But nothing makes sense all at the same time. Okay, so these are our cards. 3 ways to fail at everything in life. 1, complain about everything. 2, blame others for your problems. 3, never be grateful. No equals a full sentence. Be yourself, even if you're crazy. Stop worrying about normal ass, nothing ass people judging your cool, weird ass. In order to love who you are, you can't hate the experiences that shaped you. And then these are the backs of the cards. So today's to-dos. 1, don't complain about shit. 2, take full responsibility for every single thing in your life. 3, be grateful for shit. Tonight's to-dos. 1, look at yourself in the mirror and be like, hey, we're in the mirror realm. I'm just kidding. But maybe you could talk to your mirror self and be like, can you stop being backwards and help me navigate this? Or something. I don't know. I actually don't really like working in mirrors, because it is the entrance to the mirror realm, and it is a portal that lots of things can access you through. So I tend to not work with mirrors unless it's like really, really balanced energetically in the sky, and right now it is like literally not. So look at yourself in the mirror. 2, see how hot you are for yourself. 3, be grateful for your bad self. So this is the card that we've gotten so many times this week, and I think everybody needs to hear this. You know, so it says, the beginning, no equals a full sentence. You know what punctuates that sentence? Action. That's that Mars opposite Saturn retrograde right now, taking the action that needs to be taken. We spend so much time explaining our boundaries that we forget to just have a fucking boundary. Say no and quit participating in what you said no to. Remove yourself from the situation if you have to. Be your own boundary. And then the other cards say there will be, so this says, be yourself even if you're crazy. Stop worrying about normal ass, nothing ass people judging your cool, weird ass. There'll be none of that today. Anytime you feel yourself worrying about any of those asses, remember who you gotta wake up to every morning. You, baby, you. Your job is to make sure you're good on your own terms. Check in with what you really care about and make sure you're living up to that, not what those asses out there might be thinking. And then the last card is, in order, and this really taps into that Chiron energy. In order to love who you are, you can't hate the experiences that shaped you. Anything truly cool about you was created from the life you lived. Remember that when you start to wind down the shame spiral, no time is wasted, no love is wasted, no tears are wasted, no breath is wasted. You being you is important, and every single thing that made you is of value. Tell shame to suck it. I fucking love these cards so much. They're like so me. It's perfect. Janelle, you made me laugh so much today. Yeah, I don't like working with mirrors either for the same reason. Yeah, I'm really particular about a lot of my magical practices in general. Okay, so the forest. This is the archetype we pulled, and of course, the forest in mythology. I actually posted in Discord Monsters and Myths episode, and they touched on Joseph Campbell's work on the hero's journey in that video. I'm a major, huge, giant fan of Joseph Campbell. And he talks a lot about how the archetype of the forest is the archetype for our deepest fears, our deepest traumas, our deepest subconscious, because it is literally walking into the unknown. And our ancestors used to literally have to like tell their kids like that it was terrifying and all kinds of stuff were in there so that they wouldn't walk out there and like get killed by a wild animal or lost or something like that. And so it was really instilled in us that this archetype was like dangerous and dark and scary and unknown. And it is, just like our subconscious. But it's really what we need to tap into in order to integrate those deep, scary recesses that nobody wants to fucking touch. So, the forest, the woods, the thicket, the jungle. Consider for a moment your earliest memory of the forest. It's likely to include all the mythic dynamics of this archetypal space. A little fear, a little enchantment, perhaps losing your way, perhaps discovering a secret mystical treasure. Such is the magic of the forest. It requires first that you enter it, and then that you get lost within it. You may think there's a path to lead you straight through, but soon enough you'll be on what is known the pathless path. There are tricksters here, dense foliages and entanglement, but equally present are the glimmers of fairy light and friends among the trees. And fairies are tricksters too, just saying. I mean, in their mythology. You're on an adventure now, and there's no turning back. So embrace the dim light and the moving shadows, whether literal or imaginable. Brave the forest and get lost getting found. Win light. Magic abounds, childlike wonder, adventure. Win in the dark, concealment, density, savagery. The hunter, the maiden, the crone, and the shaman make regular appearances in the forest. Don't be surprised if these cards come up together. Let the narrative reveal itself. If you get out of the forest without feeling lost, you were only in a little grove of trees, or a complete illusion. The great archetypal forest requires we spend at least one night frightened for our lives. Okay, so then I said, well, since we got the forest, we may as well pull a Wisdom from Trees deck and see what the forest has to say to us, since we're going to get lost in it and shit. And I pulled the pomegranate, and look at the symbolism of that card. So the pomegranate has the 5-pointed pentacle star, and then the sky is the stars with the shooting star, and it's like I know Sirius can't be a shooting star because shooting stars are meteors and not stars, and Sirius is a fixed star, but still, I see that like shooting star as that like shooting Sirius activation at us if we can align with our magic. While in this realm of makes no sense. Okay, so the pomegranate, the inner journey of the self. The pomegranate message. I am the fruit of the underworld. And remember, Cancer is literally the underworld. It's the bottom of the zodiac. It's the 4th house, the bottom. It's the underworld. I am the fruit of the underworld, your personal underworld. It's like your personal underworld. I am the fruit of the underworld, and I will guide you on your inner journey as you enter the rich realms of your unconscious. I can help you to interpret your dreams and to gain a deeper understanding of the world around you, and that what is there to help you interpret your dreams? It's that 5-pointed pentacle. And what is that? It is the 4 elements united into the 5th, which is ether. So it's all the masculine, all the feminine elements united together into this ether element, into the five-pointed star of magic, of initiation, right? The ancient Greeks associated the pomegranate with death and rebirth, and its fruits featured in several myths. One of the most notable concerns Persephone, who was lured to the underworld by Hades, who tricked her into eating pomegranate seeds. We should also be mindful of luring and trickery. Pomegranate seeds. This meant she had to spend each winter with him, a time when nature went into mourning for her. Her remembrance into the world each spring allowed plants to grow again. Her re-emergence into the world each spring allowed plants to grow again. The bark of the tree and the rind, seeds, and juice of the fruits are all used in Ayurveda as well, so they have healing properties. Use your intuition and personal instincts to tune in to the major themes of your life. Meditation will help you to still your mind so that inspiration can strike, and creative visualization will help you to plan your life's path. That's it. Oh, wait. I have one more slide. So we are entering into the Lionsgate period, which last year I think we collectively realized was bullshit and a total ritual, which I will be diving into tomorrow night. But I just wanted to close this with the post that I had done last year and the Sirian call of sovereignty, which let's remind ourselves that the Sirius alignment is really on July 5th. It is not on August 8th, like people will be telling you. Although now that I've done these posts a couple years in a row, people do get their facts a little bit more accurately, and they are calling it a helical rising. But still, we'll talk about why even that is sketchy when we get into the live stream tomorrow. But I just wanted to end this with the Sirian call of sovereignty that I wrote last year. I embody the truth that I am always connected to Sirius, and that the connection is found within. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, next month, every day. For I am the cosmos, and the cosmos are me. As above, so below, as the universe, so the soul. I do not need to join a ritual today to know this truth. Everything, including truth, is found within me. I am one with all that is. I am a walking, talking, permanent portal to the cosmic realm, and this date, that 8/8, has nothing on my magic. And I think I will end it with that. Thank you guys so much for being here with me live. I appreciate you guys so much. Just try to navigate this as best you can. Find ways to stay grounded, get into the body, get into the self, travel the abyss, and work on reclaiming these aspects of the self through this personal inner journey of those inner waters. That's where we're at. That is where we're at. So I appreciate you guys so much. I will see you on, I think, the 8th for our next video, and I will be over on Discord, so come and chat with me. I'm posting all my weird Atlantis findings as I work to compile this information for the book I'm writing, and we're over there chatting, so I'm around. I'm definitely going to be on Instagram a lot less, so if you want to chat with me, you can join my Patreon and come and talk to us on Discord. So love you guys. Things will be linked below. Heather's, I'm going to get Heather's, I'll post her YouTube as well. She did a whole video on why this energy is so volatile, and that should be on her channel, Astrology with Heather. And then I'll also post her newsletter, and then Sharon's Essence Sharon's Essence. I'm going to post that below, and my Patreon as well, so check that out. And thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe and thumbs up and comment below and hit the bell, and have a great night. Bye, guys.